This is what we're here for. This is really exciting every year, and I am just so honored to be able to award this year's Mooers Award. The Mooers Award is named after Douglas Mooers, NAILBA's founding chairman, and it is the highest honor our organization bestows. As this year's awards committee chair, I had the pleasure of reviewing the nominations and ultimately being a part of the selection of this year's recipient. I'm going to carry on the tradition of trying to give you hints without giving away the recipient's name until the end. But as usual, I suspect many of you will know who I am talking about very quickly. This year's recipient has been in the insurance industry since the early 1960s. He is well known as an industry advocate, educator, mentor, and philanthropist. His career in insurance began as a disability insurance agent for Massachusetts Indemnity Life Insurance Company in Cleveland. He was so successful in his efforts that just a few years later, the company moved him to Chicago to run one of the flagship agencies and to manage a dozen agencies across the country. 10 years later, the company changed direction, and the agency that carries his name was launched. Shortly after that, he joined NAILBA, and his love affair for this organization and its members have never stopped. His agency is also active in LifeMark Partners, and he was part of the planning and formation of the Plus Group. In 2004, he was sought out in the planning, creation, and launching of the International DI Society. In 2011, he was recognized with their Lifetime Achievement Award. In addition to his active involvement in the insurance community, this year's recipient has also been involved in extensive philanthropic efforts. He actively supports the Glenkirk, an organization that provides services for intellectually disabled children and adults, as well as Heartstrings in Kansas City, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, the Wounded Warriors Program, and our own NAILBA Charitable Foundation. With his wife Shirley by his side, he has proudly raised 3 sons, Vic, who just finished performing for us, Michael, and Harlan. In addition to his other accomplishments, he is very proud of his 6 grandchildren and his daughter-in-laws. I am pleased to present to you the 2015 Mooers Award winner, Eugene Cohen. give you Eugene Cohen.
Well, I had a couple things that I was concerned about. I'm glad I wore my tuxedo pants. I went to take them to the tailor because I usually wear them for weddings and things like that, and the Mooers Award. And I told the tailor, just take them out. And after eating all this food, I told my wife I'd probably have to throw them away because you can't take them out anymore. Victor was funny. I mean, I just loved his act. It was just terrific. You know, I started in the business like a lot of folks by accident. I got married in 1963 and joined this wonderful industry in 1963. And the amazing thing about it was I didn't know if I wanted to be in insurance. Most of you folks probably thought you were going to be in insurance, I guess. But I worked in another area in retailing because my older brother worked in it, and I thought that was pretty good after I graduated from Ohio State. And after 14 months, I found out I wasn't very good, but the industry was good. And I went into the insurance business, went to a vocational center, and they gave me 2 cards. And these were 2 folks that I would go for an interview. And it was a very lucky day for me because I was selling since I was 14 years old. And I walked into this one establishment, and the general agent, very, very good guy, and I said, well, what do you do? He says, I help people. Well, that sounded pretty good to me. He said he helped people, and I said, how do you do that? Well, if they can't work, we give them a paycheck. Well, that sounds pretty easy. That sounds pretty exciting. I'd like to learn that. And he said, I'll teach you. And he taught me how to sell disability income protection to physicians. And the classic thing is that it wasn't going so well. It took 15 appointments before I made a sale. And I remember that sale. That sale was incredible because that sale really changed my life. I really knew I could sell this stuff. And I remember the fellow's name. It was Dr. Morris Keller, and he said, I said, you know, if you were disabled, this policy will pay you, and it will work. It works when you can't work. And my heart was beating very fast, and I was getting excited. And I remember what he did. He had a credenza and his briefcase right behind there, and he turned around, and he went into his briefcase, and he took his checkbook out. And when I saw that checkbook, I said, you're good. And he wrote the check out, and I got into the car, and I put it on the seat, and I looked at it all the way back to the office, and I said, you know, this is really easy because I'm so fortunate to have something that I'm selling something that people need. And everything went along really great, and the company moved me to Columbus, then Chicago, and every city began with a C. I just was wondering where they would move me again. But then all of a sudden things changed. They went out of the disability business, and all of a sudden I was in the brokerage business. And boy, NAILBA really helped me. It helped me learn about brokerage because I knew nothing about brokerage. In fact, a company that I called up on the phone, I wanted to get their contract. It was Maccabee. And I said to Jim Smith, he said, do you have a brokerage agency? I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, yeah. He said, how many brokers? I said, 11. He said, 11? That's not a brokerage agency. I said, Jim, he said, I'll come to Chicago and I'll visit with you. And I promised him that if he gave me the contract, I would become his top disability office, which I did. And he gave me the contract, and I found out what brokerage is. Brokerage business is the greatest business in the world because we really help people. We try to put the right shoe on the foot. And it really was exciting. And then my first brokerage manager was my wife. And she was very good. And then all of a sudden, after quite a few years, 20 years in the business, she decided she didn't like to do it anymore. And she left. She left the business. And I was very fortunate that I had a son who came into the business and really knew it, really took it off, really did a great job. He understood technology. He understood the things that really make us grow. And I just loved it because the fact is that he had a lot of the things that I didn't have, and it just made things a heck of a lot easier for me. And the funny thing about it is that I don't know an awful lot about technology. I know one thing, that my voice is my technology, and if I see a lot of people, I will sell a lot of insurance. And I know how to get referrals, and I know the old way, but he knows the new way. So if you take the old and the new and you put it together, it's a great formula. I believe in training, I believe in teaching, and I love this industry, and I don't think I'll ever retire because I really am a terrible golfer. And actually, when I play golf, the only thing I remember saying is, "Where's the ball?" Because I can't find it. But I want to thank you all. I could talk forever, and I could tell you one thing, you certainly don't want to hear me talk longer. But I can tell you this is extreme. I am extremely happy. I didn't expect this. I was sitting there listening to Victor speak and thinking about if I should have Shirley's dessert. And then the next thing you know, they were describing the individual, and they mentioned someone in the 60s. Well, I want to tell you, I was at the protective dinner last night, and I found out that I was the only one married for over 50 years. So I'm thinking, that's narrowing it to me. I have a pretty good shot at this thing. Because if they're gonna give it to somebody old, so I have a shot at it. And then when they said disability, heck, I really knew I had a shot at it. And then when they said Cleveland and they said Mass Indemnity, I haven't heard that name in years. But thank you very much for the honor. I'm very happy. I think, I'm telling you, it was terrific. And thank you so much. I appreciate it to the people. Thank you.
You're wonderful, Eugene. They're standing up for you.